Atheist Nomads, episode 178, The War on Christmas, 2016. Welcome to another episode of Atheist Nomads. I am Dustin. Joining me is, well, actually not, Wesley's not here.
Hi. Wow, you have fallen into a rut,
yes,
sir.
he is sick.
Aww.
Yeah, so he's going to be out of commission for a few days. So
sucks.
I am joined by my lovely wife, Lauren.
Hello.
I am here.
Hey, lady.
I live here. It's kind of hard to avoid.
And coming back from his first appearance.
This is the 17th time I've been on your show.
Of 2016 is Mikey Pullman.
Hi, guys. How's it going? It's
Hi,
me
Mikey.
again.
Hi.
Rough indeed. We also have a couple dogs with us.
Yeah.
Yes.
You were welcome part of the atheist family. You don't believe in gods either.
Rocco
De
loves
facto
Mikey,
atheism.
but is still not quite certain about him being at the table.
It's new. It's fine. Maybe this isn't the place I belong. Yeah, War on Christmas. That's fun.
All right. So Lauren has is
I'm
going
to
to
introduce you. What is the War on Christmas? Well, about 10 years ago, Bill O'Reilly determined that more and more of the big shopping centers are turning away from the Merry Christmas, saying Merry Christmas, becoming more inclusive by saying Happy Holidays or not mentioning the holiday at all. And that was evil and wrong and not American, and thus the War on Christmas began. Put Christ back in Christmas and all of that jazz.
Yeah, he's the reason for the season, you guys.
Yeah. Well, apparently he has recently declared that the War on Christmas has been won by the truly righteous.
Really? I didn't even know we were fighting still.
No. Everybody else is like, what? You're still
Well, so what's so
that?
funny with it is the whole issue with the War on Christmas was, there was the stores and also government getting hassled by FFRF.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same
others.
time,
Freedom
having
from Religion
conservative Christians,
Foundation. First time
Yes.
listeners.
and having the having conservative Christians really pushing for Christmas being Christian, which hadn't.
It's just hilarious because it's not.
Which we'll get to that a little bit more in a little bit, but it's been Bill O'Reilly and atheist podcasters that have kept this going. Because
you guys are fighting the good fight.
It is so much fun.
Because it is fun.
It is fun.
It's like comedians when a new president comes.
Yeah.
around. You're like,
It's just difficult. And there's a
fresh
lot of comics that talk
fodder.
about this, too.
Yeah.
The War on Christmas is just one of those memes that comes back every year, and people are like, yeah. It doesn't make sense. It's obviously pandering.
Yes.
Like, you're just so obvious preaching to the choir. The War on Christmas. That's not even how the other side talks.
Well,
We
this
have like a
year,
stand-in on Christmas.
this year got a bit of a boost with President-elect Trump, literally saying that, well, I'm not going to quote him, but saying that Merry Christmas, it's time to bring Merry Christmas back.
Sure. And
And
you know,
so
it's
Bill O'Reilly's like, we have a savior. We're done.
Yeah, we're
the
done.
War
We've
is
got our
won.
guy. Got
There
our
are
guy.
still insurgents, though.
He did say that. He used the word insurgents. It's just
Insurgents.
the hawkish language of this aspect of their ideology. They really like it's. And war is easy to use. When I talk to people about comedy, like comics, I use war analogies and metaphors. It's simple. It's violent. It's direct. Especially since usually I'm talking to guys. And I don't understand sports, but war's not hard. And I think it's like a war on Christmas. Like, we got to fight these guys. They also have the culture war. They're big on that one.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
this idea that they're losing ground in important things, issues like abortion and stuff, where they feel like they already own the territory and they don't even want discussion. So it's that language that continues on
And if there
now.
is discussion, they're being persecuted for it.
And they are being persecuted for it.
They should be.
And what's I find hilarious is what I've observed, more particularly in my previous job where we actually were public facing, dealing with customers. The atheist there, like the token atheist, was the one who was
Everybody's got
most
one.
likely to say Merry Christmas, and the Christians were more likely to say Happy Holidays.
Isn't that weird? That is super weird.
It is about being inclusive and not exclusive, and
Right,
I
my-
respect that.
Also, reading your audience, honestly, my day job right now is at a cashier, at a local grocery store, a chain, and guy in a yarmulke came in, and I said Happy Hanukkah, And he said Happy Hanukkah back. Oh, wow, no conflict. I guessed correctly the openly Jewish man was celebrating Hanukkah. I said it in a white person's accent, which he did not correct me for. And he went on with his life, and we smiled at each other. I respected his culture because I have no vested interest in anything else. And he said, thank you, the right way. I think that's the future of humanity. Hey, what gender do you identify as? This one. Great, thanks. What's your preferred pronouns? People argue about this shit like it matters when that's literally, a 3-second conversation I just had with myself to find out what I want to be called. Why can't you do that with other people? If I shake your hand and it becomes an issue and I say mister and I see you tense up or you correct me, I go, oh, I'm sorry, what's your preferred? That's it. It's the same with Christmas. If you like Christmas, great. Merry Christmas. Nobody owns Merry Christmas. Honestly, on Twitter the other day, I pointed out that Santa's an elf. Christians don't own him. Christians don't own elves. Santa is an elf. So if you want to believe in Santa Claus, you're great. And you're Christian, you can. Because you know what? We don't give a shit if Christians use our stuff. We don't. They take it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They do.
Well, when I would say Merry Christmas at work, it was always Christmas Eve.
Yeah, or close.
Maybe the day before Christmas Eve. Like when it's clearly Christmas time. There are no other holidays that matter right now.
This year is super fun because Hanukkah starts on Christmas Day.
It does.
So you can two birds with one stone by just...
You can always say Happy Hanukkah. What are they going to do? Call you out on not being Jewish? How the fuck are they going to know that you're not Jewish? You could be Jewish. I don't know that.
I was told once that I wasn't allowed to celebrate Thanksgiving because I'm an atheist. And I'm
well, they don't know what atheism means.
I'm like, Thanksgiving is a religious holiday? They're like, yeah. I'm like, no, it's not.
No, it's based upon us getting free foods from the brown people that already lived here.
That we killed. And
there was that whole disease thing that killed all of them before we got here.
Our fault.
Well, yeah.
Actually.
Still. But people didn't know about the diseases.
Okay, we didn't know about the microbes. We do now.
It was an inadvertent destruction.
And I'm not saying we do it differently, though. You have to admit that if we could use that as a tactic to kill insurgents or to fight ISIS, we'd give them blankets to kill them if that was an option. Yeah. We just airdrop them.
Yeah.
And wring our hands in the war room.
They're going to be so cozy tonight.
Yeah, then they're going to die of smallpox.
That's terrible. That's called biological warfare, and that is terrible.
Yeah, but we do it.
Shh. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to dusting off the degree. Today
Dustin wants to talk now.
Yes, we're going to be talking about whether or not Christmas is a Christian holiday.
Okay.
So if you look...
Spoiler, it's not.
All right, what's your next subject?
If you trace it back to the origins, scholars who believe that Jesus was an actual person believe he was probably born in the spring.
Yeah, because the whole shepherds and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The whole story makes... Okay, as we talked about last week, the story does not make sense. But if you were to try to make sense of the story, it makes the most sense in the spring. And so then, as Christianity was expanding and growing, they had several different religions that they were really vying for popularity and control with. In particular, was the traditional Roman religions, which had Saturnalia at the winter solstice.
Good old Saturn.
And Mithraism, which was very popular in the Roman army in particular, and had a dying and rising god who was the son of the high god. He was a bull god, Mithra. He would die December 21st at the solstice, and then he would rise.
Good time for that.
Yeah, and then he would rise again because he was a bull-shaped sun god. He would rise again on December 25.
I'm sorry, a part of me is just going, God, that just sounds like such bullshit. And the other part of me is like, wait, it's all bullshit, so it doesn't matter.
I think it's beautiful. I love the stories.
I do love
the same way I like the Greek Genesis or the Egyptian family tree I was looking at earlier today of the Egyptian deities. It's fascinating. I mean, it is great that you're undying, reborn, bullish God. That's cool.
Yeah. And most pagan religions had some kind of a sun god.
Oh, well,
that was usually the
I would
the
worship
high god.
It if I...
It affects everything from your mood to your food.
Very good. I like that. That's good coinage.
And the sun gods were usually born on or around the solstice.
When there's no sun.
When everything
the rebirth is when the sun starts to get larger.
And then it's born.
Yeah.
That's really clever. God damn, we are some smart apes.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
And every culture in northern latitudes in particular. I'm sure there was something similar going on in southern latitudes.
No one pays attention to those guys.
There's nothing in the southern.
We don't
Australia,
write that down.
Well, they immigrated, so they don't count.
But there was always a solstice holiday because it's cold, it's dark, life sucks.
Oh, it does.
You can't do much agriculture because it's cold and dark.
Everything's
Nothing's going to grow. And
Children
it's a
are dying.
depressing time of year.
Like Oregon.
So all of these cultures had some kind of a holiday.
Yeah.
One of the more well-known ones now from a Germanic from the Germanic tribes was Yule.
Oh, Yule time. That's my favorite.
Yule time.
There's
Yule
a lot of fun
log.
traditions from that part of the world in that time period.
Lots of burning of wood.
I'm all about the burning.
And in particular, the Yule log wasn't necessarily just something you'd burn. It was evergreens. The whole symbol of that time for those peoples was evergreen trees because they were proof that not everything was dead.
Yeah, life
and that
perseveres.
Spring would be coming.
I think it's beautiful. It's all about the theme, really.
And
the story is what matters.
Burning logs, lighting candles, stuff like that. That was bringing light during the darkest time of the year.
Also, fire is really cool.
Yeah, it's just
You ever
fun
just
to mess
look
with.
at it? So great. You can see stuff in there
Oh
if
my
you
gosh.
stare hard enough.
Well, if your place burns down, we'll know.
No, it won't be me. I will watch it burn, though. But I can't afford to lose all my stuff and start over.
Oh, that's true.
I'm not. That's why I'm not. I know I'm not a pyromaniac. I can't afford it.
Now, the Norse...
Don't have the insurance.
Yeah, I can't get that.
The Norse had Odin.
Those are my people.
Odin
The
was... All-Father.
Give up your eyeball.
Yeah. And he would give presents to those who were good, and
Like Mjolnir.
Mm-hmm.
Technically a present.
Technically, yes.
And then you had Sinterklaas in Denmark. That was Saint Nicholas,
Yeah.
a Christian saint from Turkey in around the 4th century, who would give people presents in their wooden shoes and coal if they were bad.
adorable.
You guys are silly.
And in Britain, you had Father Christmas,
Yeah.
who was a druid dressed in green.
He seems like he's a very severe dude, though.
Oh, yeah.
Just with the name.
Pretty somber.
Father.
And so
Have
what...
you disappointed Father Christmas
You
this
just-
year?
Yes. Short answer, yes.
I can never live up to his expectations.
And as was the standard for Christianity in those early days, it was all syncretism. You take what the local people are doing and figure out a way to Christianize it.
Oh, the Romans were good at that.
Romans were
It was
good
all
at that
about-
too. Yeah.
It was all about absorbing cultures so you don't have to come back and fight the uprising. It's really just military strategy taken out over 1,000-year, culture.
Throw in a little genocide and you're good.
Well,
So-
you got to get rid of the insurgents before you keep the rest of them.
So Christianity developing Christmas, there was two big factors. One was there wasn't a feast day for Jesus. He got every Sunday, but there wasn't a special one for him. And as
What about the
saints,
Passover? It seems like the Jews gave him one, didn't they? Because he's a prophet for them, or
no.
no?
He was a false prophet, if anything.
Oh, he's a false prophet.
So you'd have...
The Jews were probably right all along.
So they would take what was going on, and they saw all these holidays, and in particular with them being tied to gods. And so to trump them, they had to tie that to a Christian god. And so Christmas. St. Nicholas ended up becoming a symbol of that very early, and they adopted very early evergreen as a part of it. This was something that Martin Luther didn't like, but then eventually I think was okay with. And so that's it ended up being where the evergreens is where Christmas trees came from.
Oh, yeah, all that was jacked. Just jacked from other places. You're right, 100%, but it makes sense. You show up, you're like, they're already celebrating. Well, just tell them it's for our God and not theirs. They'll forget eventually.
Within a generation or two.
Keep your trees, because it even says in the Bible you're not supposed to bring trees into the house to celebrate. Like, that is a specific commandment, Christian. You're not supposed to do that.
Yeah.
Christian, we're looking at
listen,
you.
I'm not Christian. I can do that. You aren't supposed to.
I have friends who are Christian, so I can totally get away with it too.
Yeah, it's fine. I had a friend. Some of my best friends are Christian. Okay?
Yeah, guys,
Say it.
I can say it.
So then you take what was already syncretism that was going on, and Christmas
Such a good word.
wasn't really a huge holiday in most places. Yes, it was a holiday, but it wasn't all that big.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't like a several month long big deal. And then you had all this immigration from different parts of Europe into the United States. And they brought with them Father Christmas, Odin, the Odin version of Santa. Well, not even Santa, but Odin himself.
If Santa was more like Odin, it would be a pretty hardcore religion. It would be a great holiday.
And they brought Sinterklaas / St. Nicholas. And those characters got merged into Santa Claus.
The All-Father.
The All-Father, Father Christmas, Santa Claus.
Yeah, Santa the All-Father.
That
should take one of his eyes and give him a crow.
A couple crows, even.
Yeah, or maybe reindeer that fly. That'd fix. They know things. That's probably how he finds out if you're bad or good. He has flying reindeer spies.
Yeah.
And they're on the roof,
reindeer
so
part, that was also added in around the same time. Because
there weren't any reindeer. Also, are there evergreens near Bethlehem at all?
Yeah.
Because I was thinking about this. I did not look it up because I'm super lazy.
We knew Dustin would know the answer.
Yeah. There were evergreens.
Are there? Okay, because I was curious. That would be an interesting stopping point.
That was definitely more of a northern...
Yeah, that wasn't one of their traditions, though.
No, that was definitely more Scandinavian.
Yeah, those people.
Scandinavian and Germanic. But so then you have all of this...
the reindeer.
You have all this coming together in the United States.
Yeah.
Night Before Christmas doesn't talk about Santa Claus. It has...
Old Saint Nick?
I think it's Father Christmas in that one.
Old Saint Nick.
Or Old Saint Nick. Yeah.
Yep, Old Saint Nick. I sang it a lot as a child.
There's a number of those early versions of Christmas stories and the like that are now viewed as being about Santa, had other names, the original names. And it wasn't until about the 1850s, 1860s that Santa Claus was truly formed.
Yeah, but Gandalf was called Mithrandir, too. Like, couldn't it just be Santa Claus by another name?
It's still Santa Claus.
Yeah, it's still Santa Claus, though. But it's Gandalf at the end of the day.
Technically, if you follow the timeline, yes.
I'm not going to stick to facts for this.
Oh, okay.
No, you're right, though. That makes sense.
And by about 1850, 1860, Santa Claus was firmly established, and the colors were settled on as red and white. Before that, green and white was almost as common as red and white.
That's red and green now.
That's
but
where
he
we
doesn't
get
wear
elves.
a lot of green.
Elves wear green and white.
Slave labor.
And elves are
slaves.
from Scandinavian mythology.
Santa Claus is the dream Republican because he's rich. It's all trickle down economics. He has an inexpensive workforce. He doesn't have to pay much. They have all their needs met.
Yeah.
It makes perfect sense. Santa Claus should be.
And he has a doting, nagging wife back at home.
Whose name is Jessica, according to some movies.
But she didn't show up until around the 20th century.
Well, he probably had
she
to
didn't
get
show up
married.
till way later. They're like, wait.
I think even mid-20th century.
What has he got all those little elves for? Oh,
So-
he has a wife. He has a wife.
He has a wife now.
Oh, okay.
And
He's visiting all these kids in the night in the dark alone.
There is a myth that Santa Claus was created by, or at least our version of him was created by Coca-Cola.
Well, I mean, some of the modern visual aspects, weren't they?
No, those
was
were
they all
already
just
all well
jacked
established before. Coke adopted Santa
This is
Claus
cultural appropriation
because the
from
colors,
other white people.
No, it wasn't even that. The colors were red and white.
Yeah.
Coca-Cola's colors were red and white.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So if they used him...
Is that why they use the polar bears, too?
No.
You've discovered something.
No.
They do have a lot of polar bears.
But if they took...
They're white.
No.
Sorry.
If they took Santa Claus and they used him to try to sell Coke, as Christmas was starting to become a bigger deal, as it did in the late 19th, early 20th century... they could try to get people to buy Coca-Cola in the wintertime. That was a summer drink.
It is a summer drink, though.
And
also when you go to McDonald's.
Their sales went
Not when you put
up.
Jack in it.
They did? Oh, that makes sense. I mean, it's a good marketing campaign. Who doesn't like Santa Claus?
Mm-hmm.
It's a good feeling thing.
By the 1950s and 60s, Coca-Cola was going quite global.
Yeah.
And they took their Santa Claus marketing global.
Well, why wouldn't you?
And as a result...
Everybody thinks that that's what Santa looks like.
Father Christmas is now Santa Claus in Britain,
So
wearing
he's
red and white.
overwritten. Yeah.
Odin in Scandinavia is now Santa Claus.
No, I think they still have
Bullshit.
Odin over there, too, though.
Sinterklaas is now
Sinterklaas.
Santa
I love how you
Claus.
say that. Did you practice, or do you already know how to say that?
Sinterklaas.
I've heard
Krampus is coming
could
back,
never-
though. I like that.
Let's talk about that for a second. That's fascinating. Why couldn't we have taken that?
Well, like
Punish
I said,
the
it
evil?
is coming back.
That's very Christian.
A lot of millennials are going back and saying, "Hey, if you're celebrating the good, you've got to have the bad there
I like
too."
millennials a lot.
So rather than do the coal,
it's most of my fan base.
It's also an awesome movie that came out, Krampus. 2 years ago?
I'm checking it out.
It's so good. I watched it last year. I loved it.
I like the idea of an evil elf. Oh,
but there was somewhere I was trying to go with all of this.
Oh, please, sorry.
Is Christmas a Christian holiday?
Yes. Now.
No.
It wasn't before, but it is now.
No.
They've hijacked it. 80% of the Christmas music is Christian music, and we let that happen.
That's because I for one think that beautiful music is beautiful music.
Yeah, and I sang it, but that doesn't make it not Jesus juice.
No. But considering it was all based on paganism.
Yeah, but they took it away from us, and we let them have it.
Well, okay, hundreds of years ago. There's not much we can do about that. Nowadays, secularists celebrate it just as much as any Christian does.
Everybody celebrates Christmas.
So my take on it is what we celebrate is a commercialized version of, or a secularized version of a commercialized version of the Christianized version of several pagan holidays.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a Christian
and that way
part
everybody
in it.
gets a piece of it.
Yeah,
it's a pretty big pie.
There is a Christian element.
No, they have their own thing. They get all the food when they get money when we go out to eat. That happens a lot.
But you can celebrate Christmas with almost all of the traditional stuff and nothing Christian going on. If you have a Christmas tree, that is pagan. You have lights, those are pagan. You eat food, that's pagan.
One thing, though, that you're forgetting is the nativity. That is huge.
That is Christian.
That is Christian, and it's just something that we don't really see because we, preaching to the choir, guiltiness. Mm-hmm. We are only just hanging out with other atheists all the time.
But everything else,
my girlfriend's Episcopalian. I don't date other atheists. I don't know why. I'm probably prejudiced.
They're all assholes.
They were such arrogant dicks.
God, they're so pretentious.
But yeah, everything else is pagan except for the nativity.
Yeah, it was built on some really good pagan ideas.
And we know that the nativity is just a lie.
But is he right then? I mean, since we listen to all their music and we allow the one religion to dominate the conversation, have they won, or are they just, sitting in that area and acting like they've won? Because in reality, we're just taking...
They're acting like they won because realistically, for every 2 stores that have brought Merry Christmas back into their marketing, 10 have switched over to Happy Holidays.
There's a lot of holidays. I tried to look it up.
There's 29 holidays in the month of December.
Indeed, several dozens. There's so many, right? Yeah, Christmas is just the one that we're marketing the most.
I started marking them on my Google Calendar, so I'll remember them for next year. So there's Krampusnacht, there's St. Nicholas Day, there's Advent. It's insane. It's awesome.
It's pretty crazy.
Now, for me, with my Adventist background...
Excuse to eat food every single time.
Right?
Christmas, I have viewed almost my entire life, except for a brief period when I was in college, as a secular, non-Christian holiday. Because Adventist Church, until quite recently, has not done anything about Christmas.
No.
Because it is a
pagan holiday.
Catholic pagan holiday.
Yeah. Do you remember, those are longtime listeners of the show. When I was on last time, we talked about my religious upbringing. My dad belonged to a church called The Body. For a while there, he didn't celebrate Christmas because it was secular. And I was singing in a choir in a school. I was not allowed to sing the word Santa. So even though singing was my thing at the time, I would sing the words, but then my parents made me mouth Santa. Right, like that, surrounded by people. And I would mouth the words. Like, that's how ridiculous some of these religions get with it, because they see that it's pagan.
Yeah.
I think it really is the normalized passive Christianity that's more like, just like, oh yeah, of course it's Christian. Why? Because Jesus is the reason for the season. He wasn't born then. You don't know that.
Christian.
You don't even know he was born, dude.
Now,
you don't get to pick the date.
Now, with growing up with it as basically a secular holiday, we still celebrated. And as far as the church went, there might be a nativity play.
Yeah.
That was usually all it would get mentioned at church.
Yeah, probably.
And the Sabbath closest to Christmas would just be one where it's going to be a very casual service because nobody's going to be there.
Yeah, they're all on freaking vacation and eating good food and seeing family. The true message of Christmas that everybody's always mentioning, and except for maybe one movie, I'm looking at you, Peanuts. It's basically about family, about being thankful for what you have, about being kinder to human. That's all humanism right there.
Mm-hmm.
They can have their Christian Christmas.
It is amazing how much overlap we have with all sides on the things that we want to celebrate: joy, giving. People are very giving this time of year. People are very willing to give to your charity, even if they wouldn't normally. People donate a lot more time.
I think it correlates with the guilt.
Sure, but guilt's a useful tool.
The colder it gets outside, the more aware you become of homeless people, and so the more you want to give.
But
it's also taxes.
God!
Because if you make enough money and you spend enough, you can write off all your charitable giving. I don't think that applies to any of us because
I live in a box down by the river.
The standard deduction is all we get to take advantage of. But if you are past that, then charitable giving, you want to get as much as you can in at the end of the year because at that point you know what your tax bill is.
Which is why every cashier is asking you if you would like to donate to these poor sad kids.
We raised a lot of money this year at the place I work at.
But really, it comes down to is a corporation write-off. That money is still good,
fine,
though.
But that doesn't mean it's bad. It's not blood money. Like, all I do is I'm just like, hey, this is the thing we want to give to. I can't even remember the one we gave to this year because we've done 2 since I've been there. And it's fine. People can say no. I don't care. Like, if you feel guilt, that's your weakness. Like, I didn't like put my thumb to you. I don't have emotional levers. I'm just like, hey, homeless kids are starving. You want to throw a buck their direction? And if you're like, I feel guilty, well, then fuck you. Maybe do more for your society so you're justified.
Help out with that homeless
I clearly have
shelter.
No sympathy for those people.
The children's shelter. I do have a problem going to Petco, and they're asking, would you like to help rescued animals? And then I look over at their adoptable kittens, and I'm like, oh, nope. Cats. I hate cats.
Oh, what was funny was the first time I actually remember getting asked that question was when I was getting Rocco his tag.
Rocco's
and
a cutie.
His harness.
Rocco.
And the answer was, I just did. He's right here.
He's right here.
Rocco's really cute.
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and take our first break. And then we'll
take
get
a
into
shot.
some news. Atheist Nomads is proudly brought to you by Archway Hosting. Check out their low-price, full-featured hosting solutions at archwayhosting.com. That's ARCHWAY hosting.com.
Hey, we're also brought to you by listeners just like you. Find out how you can become a patron at patreon.com/atheist nomads. That's patreon.com/atheist nomads.
Okay, so we got a question from Acrowatts on Twitter at Atheist Nomads. As someone who with actual formal education, how are you taught to deal with Santa and other such figures? I touched on this a little bit. It was viewed basically as a secular holiday in the Adventist Church, and we were told nothing on the topic.
It's best to avoid stuff you don't know about.
Just throw all these graduates out into the world and say, okay, deal with it.
It didn't matter because that wasn't a Christian holiday.
Yeah.
So, big whoop. There was one parent that I encountered at one of the churches I worked at one summer. We were doing a play in the youth group, and he did not want his, I think, 3 or 4-year-old child to see it because even though it was part of Vacation Bible School, he did not want his kid to see that because he was not going to tell his kid anything that was not true, and so no fiction was going to be allowed.
Okay, everybody, have a good hearty laugh. Okay, now continue.
Everyone thought he was insane.
Well,
which takes us to our first news story, or I guess second news story. Pastor David Grisham Jr. of the Last Frontier Evangelism organization has previously been in the news from a 2010 incident where he had a firing squad execute Santa.
Santa,
what?
No!
Yeah.
That's hardcore. It's pretty metal.
You're upsetting the dogs.
See, the dogs don't like it.
Now he's back with a trip to the mall in Amarillo, Texas, where he walked up to kids in line to see Santa and said,
"Kids, I wanted to tell you today that there is no such thing as Santa Claus. Santa Claus does not exist. The Christmas season is about Jesus. Jesus was born 2,016 years ago. He was born in a manger in a small town called Bethlehem. And that's the truth about Christmas.
He seems nice.
There was so much more to that when the people started confronting him.
Well,
that's funny. You get pissed off parents when you start telling them
like
their kids that Santa doesn't exist.
Okay, so I grew up and I was fairly young when my parents decided that it was a secular holiday, and they just told all of us. So I knew from a pretty young age, elementary school, so it's kind of hard. I don't know how old you have to be to figure it out on your own. Apparently normal.
6 is average.
I don't know. I was pretty young, and I don't think I believed in it already because I'm not stupid.
You don't typically remember when you believe. I at least from my perspective, I haven't met anybody who says, "Oh yeah, I was heartbroken."
Well,
most people are like,
you're not making mental notes to remember shit when you're 5 either.
No, not when you're 5.
You're just not like, oh yeah.
Or my brother's case, his darling daughter is 3 years old and she's already telling kids at daycare Santa isn't real.
3-year-olds are hard to control.
Well, I'm proud of my skeptic niece.
It's fine, but as an adult human male, are you that arrogant prick who goes around popping bubbles? As atheists, we have this conversation all the time where we have a real conversation with adults, but I do not walk up to your children and go, "Hey, Jesus isn't real." Like, who does that shit?
Seriously, if I had been there, I was
like, "Oh, fuck.
Actually, Jesus isn't real either, kids. It's all make believe."
It would be hard to say that. Really, wouldn't you just be more shocked that some guy was doing that?
Which these parents were.
Yeah, right. Lose your goddamn... Fuck, I honestly wouldn't feel bad if the mob lynched that dude.
They were getting close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't mess with Santa.
I think he is trying to file charges against one of the parents for assault.
Well, I mean, you're not allowed legally to do that, but you deserved it to happen to you.
No, the guy, touched him.
Well...
That's all. He didn't hurt him.
Okay, he didn't do anything to him. He's being
that's not assault. But what I find the most hilarious is the fact that he had to be really specific about the details, which, as we talked about last week, no, those details do not work, especially 2016 years ago. No.
Yeah, it's ridiculous that you just know the number.
And if you date
obviously our calendar is based off of his birth.
Yeah,
but most conservative sources think that he was born 4 BCE. 4 to 6 BCE.
If he was born. The numbers they use are mostly derived from
I said conservatives.
Church record keeping. Or measuring a genealogy.
Those numbers, that particular number is based off of the story in Matthew tying it to Herod's birth. Or Herod's death.
Because they have a year for Herod's death.
Yeah.
Because he was real.
Which that doesn't work with the story in Luke.
Yeah, somebody wrote down somewhere else that he was real.
Yeah. But that doesn't work with the story in Luke, which happened a decade later.
Yeah.
For the same person being born.
Well, yeah, it makes sense. I mean, these were all oral stories for the first century anyway, and then all the writers were using fake names to sell books, just all the human shit you'd expect today if we had a Messiah. People would lie, they'd make up stuff. I was there. No, you weren't. You were the second assistant to one person who was not in the room. You just happened to hear some shit. None of it's reliable information. But if Jesus were born, he would have been born in the spring.
Yeah.
Everything that's about Christian was stolen, and you're a total dickhole if you go yell at children anyway. Unless a child is seriously acting out of control, just leave it the fuck alone.
And for a kid to see Santa, don't be an asshole.
Bad timing,
it's just
dude.
fun. It's fun to go see Santa.
Yeah. We took our dog to see Santa because it's just a fun little celebration.
I tried.
Well, some dogs
we missed it by an hour.
Oh, damn it. I don't even understand what this guy's issue is. What church did it say he was in?
He is from the...
never heard of those guys, so I don't think they're much...
Last Frontier Evangelism. He's a...
Last Frontier? That sounds end of earthy.
Oh, yeah.
Sounds
right. What do you guys believe in?
Final Frontier.
He's one of those of his own self-supporting ministries.
Oh, God.
Those are the most dangerous.
Yeah, people think that Santa is purposely anti-Christian. People who do Santa are going after Christians and persecuting them.
So how does Bill O'Reilly feel about this? Is Santa part of the war on Christmas, or is Santa a Christian?
I don't know.
I would assume he thinks Santa is a Christian.
Because they sure as hell seem to think Santa is a white Christian.
Well, St. Nicholas was a Christian.
Yeah, that guy was, but we're not calling him St. Nicholas anymore. He's this other thing.
He's this amorphous blob.
Yeah.
The All-Father.
Oh, I want to do the next one.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. So the story of Jesus is that he comes back from the dead, right?
Yeah, it's totally cool.
So a zombie nativity is just the next step for some people. And this man in Ohio decided to do just that. He used zombie, probably skeletons and stuff from Halloween and stuff, and made a nativity.
That's cute.
And then got fined.
By the homeowners association?
By the city.
By the city.
For what?
For having an inappropriate decoration.
No, it was for zoning violations.
Oh, that's
so
hilarious.
stupid.
Is it in litigation right now?
Well, okay, there's a lot more to this than just that.
Okay, good.
You're getting stuck on
the fun part?
No, not even the fun part.
Oh, okay, well.
So last year, he was ordered to remove it for violating zoning rules.
All right.
Due to its size. So he actually looked into what the rules were, and this year, after doing an Indiegogo campaign, he made it bigger.
Because it fit within the legal limits.
The actual rules are that he has a limit of 200 square feet.
That's huge.
What he made was 65 square feet.
That's nothing.
So that's nothing. The fine is supposedly because it can't be more than 35% of his front yard. And it is more than that.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Way more.
So then a few days after the $500 fine, someone shows up in the middle of the night and attacked the zombies.
Well, double tap that nasty.
He pulled the zombie Mary's hair and head off of the body, knocked over zombie Joseph, breaking his frame.
Well, and not even the real dad.
Knocked over the zombie Wiseman, and
even the token black one?
There's zombies, they're all gray. And he threw the zombie baby Jesus out into the yard.
That sounds blasphemous.
That's got to cross some kind of line.
It should be considered a
hate crime.
It's vandalism at the least.
Yeah, no, I think it's vandalism. Yeah,
anti-atheist hate crime.
Jesus was a lich, though, so he can do magic. Clear the Dungeons and Dragons rule book.
This whole story, though, is
legit.
It sucks that he's getting so much hassle for it, but it's awesome.
But at the same time, it's just next year he's going to have even more money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a fun game.
It's a fun game to play.
He knew what he was doing. He knew someone was going to... you don't know someone's going to wreck your stuff, but you have to know that's on the table.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, if you cover your car in 50, Trump bumper stickers and somebody decides to slash your tires, you know what happened. Like, you put 50 bumper stickers on your car. Yeah, like, it's... I get it. No, you shouldn't do that.
See, no, that's what I've been saying all these years about those inflatables that people put in their yards. Yeah. Like, you're asking for teenagers to come slash your inflatables, and of course, every year there's a huge rash of it, and I'm like...
They're just too easy to destroy. Yeah. I mean, they are cool, though.
They are kind of cute.
I'm interested, like, even that, like, laser device you lead out, why don't those just get stolen?
Oh, somebody stole, like, every one in Mountain Home.
Oh, well, okay, there you go.
A couple teenagers they finally tied him to the crime because there was so much glitter in the back seat of their car.
Done in by glitter.
Yep.
All right. The city of Gig Harbor, Washington has allowed a private resident to put up a nativity scene on public property for the last decade. This year, FFRF threatened legal action, and the city is backing down. The mayor thinks it's legal because the city doesn't pay for the display, but FFRF's issue is that since there is no permitting process for anybody else to put up a display, it makes it an inherently, and because it is inherently sectarian, it makes it a city endorsement of religion. It is
a very minimum a passive endorsement. I mean, unless you can give somebody else equal time.
And we're not, exactly. We're not trying to be a wet blanket here. We're not trying to ruin it for people. We're just trying to point out that this stuff is all very hypocritical and double-edged. And unless you're willing to have the Satanic Temple come in and put in a nativity, or having a flying spaghetti monster.
Theirs will be better anyway. The Satanists are killing it.
God,
this whole
rocking
they come
it
up
this
in the next story.
Game. Yeah, okay, good. I'm not surprised.
But they never do. It's just, you never give anybody else a chance, so you don't get to have that right.
And when you look at it, the only time there is an issue is when it is a nativity, because the nativity is an inherently Christian display.
Right.
All the other stuff is not. And Christmas is a federal holiday, so putting up a Christmas tree, no one's going to complain.
Or a
right,
because
we share the tree.
Yeah, you share the tree with everybody. It's not
Santa.
It's not a Jesus tree.
Yeah, the Venn diagram of what you're allowed to celebrate on Christmas. You can have most of it.
We should have that on an ugly sweater.
We really should.
Here in Boise, there are 2 Christmas trees, one
Yeah.
for the city and one for the state.
And I've seen them both. They're both good.
They're both beautiful,
They're huge.
and there's no nativity scenes there, so
Yeah, which
it's
is fine.
okay.
And it's fine. Yeah.
Yeah,
love it.
there's enough nativity scenes when you drive by churches and yards. Like, why do you need a big one in the city made? It's just part of the arrogance, I think, of any dominating religion where they slip into this habit of feeling like their religion is the normal one. So they should have the normal things.
And they think it's their right when it's not.
Because they've normalized it. They woke up in a world where their religion is in charge. So most of the attack on Christianity really is a receding of the overreach of Christianity.
Yeah.
And they just don't like losing any ground. And they don't like, and even the Happy Holidays, Merry Christmas conversation really boils down to, on the ground, I say whatever I feel like's appropriate at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, I think, how most people are.
That's if you try to read people. There are other people who will just blatantly say something to almost try to offend.
Well, yeah, well, that doesn't happen in most jobs. Like,
But
the conversation
when you're
is very
working
minimalized.
customer service, the last thing you want is somebody to waste 45 minutes of your life proselytizing you because you accidentally said Happy Holidays.
Yeah, which
instead
is
of
why
Merry Christmas
I personally just
when
talk
they
about
are
today.
bedecked in crosses.
Yeah, I just say, I hope you have a great day. Because you can't really come back with that with anything. I don't care if it's Christmas Eve. I hope you have a nice day.
This year's I've been having a particularly fun time saying, okay, well, have a Merry Christmas and Happy Hanukkah and Happy Festivus, and just been going off on all of them. And people are like, what?
Kwanzaa, man.
I'm like, Kwanzaa's legit.
The city of Boca Raton, Florida, has a section in one of their parks designated as a free speech zone with the purpose of allowing a nativity scene, which is present. FFRF was approved equal time access to the free speech zone and put up a banner commemorating the winter solstice, December 21, and the adoption of the Bill of Rights, December 15, 1791. And there's also a pentagram with an image of Baphomet as the centerpiece at this park.
Oh, yeah, there's also the Satan thing.
So whenever you have a free speech zone so that you can have the sectarian Christian stuff, it's going to be an annoying, obnoxious circus, which is what they created here. So someone vandalized both the FFRF banner and the pentagram. FFRF replaced the banner with one reading, "At the season of the winter solstice, let reason prevail. There are no gods, no devils, no angels, no heaven or hell. There is only our natural world. Religion is but a myth and superstition that hardens hearts and enslaves minds." So then someone stole the banner and placed an "In God We Trust" banner over the pentagram. And these actions would normally be misdemeanors, but since they are specifically targeting minority religious views, they are felony hate crimes in Florida.
Yeah, that's not cool, guys. You can disagree, but you can't vandalize. Especially, don't mess with the minorities, man. They got rights,
especially ones with lawyers.
Especially ones with big old lawyers.
Yeah.
It's usually not the most intelligent people that disagree with you that do this stuff, though.
No, this is
they're just rogue
punks.
agents. Nobody directs this thing. I think it's in the culture. You know, they speak ill of the opposing viewpoints a lot on, especially media that talks about this kind of stuff is really big on disparaging any point of view that's opposite, especially Satanists. I mean, outside of atheism, there is a greater, I think, prejudice against Satanism just because of the label they use.
Yep.
When almost nobody understands what a Satanist really is.
No, they don't get the joke.
Yeah.
They just don't, the levels. And I think that's one of the reasons why Satanists are actually better at this than the multifaceted prongs of any sort of atheist or humanist attempt. Because we immediately come for equality. That's our first opening move. And that's not what works. Equality doesn't work. What the Satanists do is, you know what we're going to do? I see your nativity scene. Here's Baphomet. And you don't even know who the fuck that is, but we know it scares you. Here's the statue.
Here's a statue with children.
Man with boobs.
And they can't handle that. They don't. I think that's fascinating. Because it is fascinating. Because I'm not emotionally affected by your statue. It just doesn't care. I don't care about the lions in front of the office buildings.
No.
I don't care about your Baphomet or your Jesus.
But it's the simpler approach is to just not allow anything sectarian.
Yeah.
At Christmas, decorate a tree and call it good. And nobody's going to complain. Everybody
Focus on
will be
making
happy.
the community better, not...
Yeah. Let the churches do their nativity scenes. Just keep it off of federal or off of government property, and everyone is going to be okay.
Yeah. Because if you want to see Baphomet, you could find him on the internet.
Uh-huh. All right, let's go ahead.
Or you can purchase a tree topper or a glass ornament.
Why wouldn't you? I have tons of ornaments.
Seriously need to get one of those, though.
Right.
All right, let's go ahead and take our second break.
We love
hearing
go.
from our listeners. You can email us at contact@atheistnomads.com, tweet us at atheistnomads, send us a message on our Facebook page at facebook.com/atheistnomads, or better yet, call us and leave us a message at 541-203-0666. We might even play it on the show. You can also help us out by leaving us a review on iTunes, Stitcher, or your podcast directory of choice. FFRF has also put up a nativity with Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Jefferson, George Washington, and the Statue of Liberty, with the Bill of Rights in a manger in the Iowa State Capitol.
That is fantastic.
Oh, it is awesome. And this is in direct response to a Christian nativity set up for the first time ever, also in the Capitol, the unveiling of which the governor spoke at.
Okay, that sounds like something you would see here in Idaho, where the governor goes out of his way to make sure that something gets approved. And then somebody else is like, hey, you can't technically do that. And then they're like, oh, well, sure, you can join us. And then they just like, oh, God, this is embarrassing. Because it is.
I like the patriotism as religion, though.
I actually find that bothers me big time. I do not like the fact that they did that, but fuck it.
You don't like that they did the Bill of Rights?
Well, the Bill of Rights, whatever. I just think it's funny that you would take some of these people, if you've actually read anything that they've said about the subjects of realism and their own relationship with deism, you know, and then putting them into some sort of like obvious religiously, like, I feel like these guys would all find that to be fairly uncouth at the very least.
Yeah. Well, mostly
even for slave owners.
I don't like patriotism equaling religion.
Right.
Ever.
Well, that's why the beautiful thing with what FFRF did here was, as the counter to religion, they have patriotism.
Right. It's just funny.
Which makes me throw up a little in my mouth.
Okay, let's look at it a different way. As the counter to the religion, they have, here is the law that protects us all.
That's fair enough. That's a good point.
Yeah, but you're expecting everyone to have 90 IQ points in this conversation, and I think you're wrong. Because I think the average Iowan family that walks by, there's going to be a good percentage of them that go, hey, it's Jesus and the Founding Fathers. They agree. They don't talk like that. I've never been to Iowa.
But anybody who would actually, like, if anybody were to vandalize that, it should be kind of hard to do inside of the state capitol.
Yeah,
but
points
even
to you,
criticizing
anarchist.
it would be a lot harder to not get your ass proverbially handed to you.
Well, or you're going to confuse the people who aren't going to understand the levels of satire you're dealing with. Yeah, and I get that, but I think it's another attempt of us trying to be too fancy. Where it's just
they
like, this is too smart.
Satanic temple.
Or you should just tell the Satanists, send the Satanists an email and be like, hey, Baphomet could be over here too. Because they have a disdain for us, but they're scared of Satan.
Yeah.
And that's more, I think that's better trolling.
And it's funny.
It is funny.
So funny.
Yeah, I mean, there is something to be said for, a cross hanging up with Thomas Jefferson's naked body stapled to it. But I don't think they'd get that either.
Yeah. All right. And for our final one, a Welsh ass has ruined Christmas in the town of Barry.
Barry, Wales.
The offender was a donkey who bit a child at the nativity at the St. Mary's Church. And as a result, all of the live animals have been removed.
Wales. You can't have anything nice.
Wales.
They have animals in Wales. They know that animals bite.
Yeah. Oh, man.
They fuck them half the time.
The article I got this from is from the BBC, and it's quite short.
Making fun of their own rednecks.
But they have...
That's the Welsh.
The locals, they have loved it because it gives an opportunity for children to get close to barn animals.
Yeah.
And find out that they're assholes that you don't mess with.
Right.
And
it was a petting zoo, basically, right? And then
that detail wasn't included.
Oh, okay. But yeah.
Oh, yeah,
a kid got too close and got bit. Yeah. And it's just hilarious. It's also nice that in Wales, part of the United Kingdom, a Christian nation, officially, legally, a Christian nation, the nativity was at the church, not the town hall.
Right. That wasn't the issue.
Yeah.
And
Just
that
an
is
asshole
awesome.
donkey.
Just the donkey.
The donkey bit him. And you know what? Maybe they were fucking with the donkey and he quit being an ass to it. That's all I had in short notice. I'm just surprised when people are surprised when animals bite.
Yeah.
I just think it's just funny because it's the Welsh, and they always get the short
Welsh.
end of the stick. They always are the butt of the joke.
They are. That happens a lot.
See, butt, ass. That was okay. I tried to do that on 2 levels and it failed. But
Lauren is largely Welsh.
I'm about a 4th Welsh, so
That's a good number.
I get it. I just don't look it. I look more Scandinavian.
That's fine.
My
And
sister looks it.
I probably have a Welsh ancestor since the last name of Williams is Welsh, but that would date back a long, long
Yeah,
ways because my
we couldn't
William
find
family, they kind of drift off in the family records that are around the time of the Revolution.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to track.
Yeah. Okay, so
We got a new voicemail.
we have our last break and then voicemail. So
Damn it. I always...
to help with Lauren with that, after the break, I will go
As a
straight to
listener
playing the
of
voicemail.
show, I'm going to assume you love my sexy vocal stylings. If you love the rest of the show as much as my voice, consider giving us the resources we desperately need to purchase quality cocaine and Red Bull. We make it super easy to make a one-time donation or to support us on a per episode, monthly, or even annual basis using PayPal or Patreon. Find out more at atheistnomads.com. Use the links on the right side of the page. $1 an episode is all we ask.
Dogs. Hey, sweetie.
The face I made when I heard this voicemail and the sound that came out of me was unholy. It was, oh my God, I love, thank you for
Is
that.
it just the dog?
It's just the dog barking. That's the
really
best
cute.
voicemail I have ever heard.
What was the dog saying?
I don't know, you tell us. What was it? Where are they saying?
That one was Rocco, but yeah, that was a voicemail that we got, and we've said that we love voicemail.
Yeah.
We really do. And I guess we'll even play it if it's your dog barking.
Yep, because I
sweet.
love puppies.
And we are
puppies.
desperate for voicemail because you guys don't talk to us much.
Oh yeah, yeah. In fact, that goes for everything: iTunes reviews, Google reviews. If send us pictures of your dogs, of your pets.
Oh yeah, definitely dog pictures all day.
Love that, and we'll share more of
dog
ours.
Yeah. And so that and the message from Ackerwitz that we had earlier are is the feedback that we have. We have no new patrons, but when you're working out your budget for the new year, definitely.
Yeah, we're going to give you a
consider
pass for the
supporting the
next
show.
couple weeks, and then come on, get with it.
And
No, that was rude.
I like it. No, the longer you do this, the more forceful you get. Listen, you're not spending enough money on us. You should send us like $200
At least.
at least.
well, okay, one way of putting it is now compared to the beginning of the year,
yeah.
our patronage has dropped to about half of what it was.
Why?
It was a rough year for people.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It was 2016.
Yeah.
That's why. Fuck that year.
So a lot of people just haven't been able to continue.
But you know what's right
Shelling
around the
out the
corner?
money.
2017.
gonna
And
be
it's
worse.
going to rock.
It's going to be worse. Here,
So, you're so negative.
No,
No.
I'm just realistic. Depressed people see the reality more accurately.
Dude, I know. I usually am. But I
know.
see we're going to get an impeachment. It's going to be awesome.
Do you think that's going to be the first thing that happens, or is that in the summer?
That's summer. That's
Because the
summer.
electors meet soon.
I know.
Most viewers will
we're
already know
holding
the
out
results.
hope for tomorrow.
All right.
what happens.
Well, Mikey, thank you very much for joining us on
Hi.
very short notice.
Yeah, that was fun. We were out shopping for our new dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Puppers. Now
He got,
adding to the growing
two
family of
chihuahuas.
chihuahuas.
yeah, he got a new dog to go with the other new dog.
Yeah, chihuahuas.
And he's now holding our chihuahua.
Hi, buddy.
Who was trying to lick his brain through his
Yeah.
nose.
Two kisses.
All right. So, Mikey, what do you have to plug?
All right. Here's the schedule that I have for the rest of the year. I'm going to be at Liquid Laughs, downtown Boise, Idaho. January 26th to 29th, I'm featuring there. February 21st, we have our twice yearly atheist comedy experience with some wonderful performers. Lady Business will be back, as well as Sophie Hughes, Eli Neri, and Mary Cole, and one unknown performer I probably haven't picked yet, and myself, Mikey Pullman. I will be back at the Comedy Club in June, and then we are also planning another atheist comedy show for August or September. Awesome. So follow me on anything, and I talk about myself all the time, so that'll come up.
All right, and links will be in the show notes.
It'll be fun. It's going to be good time. The Atheist Show is very popular. We do this once or twice a year in the scene. Fill up a room, and I book comics specifically for atheists and non-believers, where you can come in and we joke about our relationships with religion or about religion itself. I have a long list of really good comics who like doing this show.
Yeah, so if you're anywhere near Boise, come in and see this show.
It's pretty fun.
It's fun.
And I try to keep it before. I've not had to charge more than $7 a ticket, so it's going to be. I try to keep it pretty affordable.
Appreciate.
Yeah,
because we're hurting too.
Yeah, it is. I got to pay everybody and myself.
Yep.
I'm broke.
Good job. You need a Patreon.
I know, but that's it. I'm just doing a lot of live stuff and then random shows.
All right. Well, thank you both very much for joining me, and for all of our listeners.
Thanks, guys.
Happy holidays.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Happy Hanukkah.
And a Happy New Year.
And Festivus.
And remember,
Kwanzaa.
Not all those who wander are lost.
And Boxer Day and New Year.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Atheist Nomads. You can find show notes and contact information at atheistnomads.com. Follow us on Twitter at Atheist Nomads, and like us on Facebook at facebook.com/atheistnomads. Please subscribe to the show in iTunes, Stitcher, or your podcatcher of choice, and while you're there, feel free to leave us a review. Theme music is courtesy of Sturdy Fred. Until next time, this has been the Atheist Nomads.